Hello, amazing women. I'm Martinuke, and it's wonderful to be with you on Inspire Her. In a world awash with created perfection on social media, the pressure to conform, to keep up with the Joneses, or rather the influencers, has never been greater. Many of us, particularly here in Nigeria, find ourselves inadvertently caught in what we call the fake life trap, the mental, emotional, and financial drain of living an illusion. Today, we're daring to expose this trap. And I'm so delighted to be joined by our incredible panelists. First, the epitome of grace and wisdom, a former banking maven, Esther Ehodage. And next, a true force of inspiration, a successful pharmacist dedicated to empowering young women, Ngozi Ochuba. Ladies, welcome.
Thank you very much.
Today's topic is authenticity advantage, escaping the fake life trap. Fake life trap. So what's fake life? How do women, how do we exhibit some fake life tendencies? And how is that a trap for us?
You see,
that's like your interest, the definition you gave. You said escaping the fake life trap, and you said something about authenticity. So it's just two opposites of the same coin. If somebody is not being authentic, if you're not being your genuine self, then it's most likely you're projecting a fake persona. And that is what being fake is. Then the trap is, I believe, is when you find yourself living that kind of life where you don't really project your real self. You find out that every time you're trying to project to people or to the world what is not really you, you're not your genuine self. So that's the fake life trap.
You see, today's topic is overwhelming. I have a problem with this fake life syndrome in Nigeria today. And at times I ask myself this question: how did we even get here in the first place? Let me begin by trying to share my understanding of fake life syndrome. You know, it's a state where you feel disconnected from your real self and living a life based on societal expectation, external validation, and superficial appearance. That is, pretending to be someone you are not, living for others' approval, and at the same time feeling emotionally numb or unfulfilled, and using social media to project a perfect life that is different from your reality. So that's my understanding of fake life.
So now, at what point? So fake life now means that individuals know that this is not the real them. Is that not what it means?
Yes. What it
only
means.
You. People might not see it's fake, or people sometimes see that fake life in us?
You see, there are so many reasons responsible for this. Let's even look at the social and cultural pressure. This status culture. We live in a society where people place huge value, on material success, material things as a way of validating success. And because of that, the young people, they are in a hurry now to make it fast. And with the rise of social media, let's say TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. People are constantly comparing themselves to what they see out there, and this creates pressure. And another factor is also the cultural expectation. Let's say the youth, for instance. This set of people, especially those from less privileged background, they feel pressure to make it quick. Like they say, I want to blow. And that is a problem. And the returnees from abroad, these are just arrived crowd, they are also part of it. Then we have the religious belief also. That's another factor. Then we now have the economic reality. The gap between the real wages and the cost of living is another problem, because there are those who genuinely want to live their lives, but they cannot cope. So they resort to borrowing to keep up appearance. And that triggers another pressure. Then you also have lack of financial literacy. That's also another problem. So where there is no proper money management, then there will be overspending and it will lead to debt. So these are some of the problems we have.
Yeah.
Okay, you know,
Yeah.
you asked a question that is it that people who live fake life know they're living fake life? Some do know they're living fake life, but it has become so bad that people begin to lose touch, like she said, who they really are. So at a point, it becomes like an unconscious thing. It becomes an unconscious thing. It's like you don't even know who you are anymore. So the person becomes even confused with who they are. They lose touch, like she said, with their real selves. So it's a really big issue. I don't know if that makes any sense to
Well,
you.
yeah.
Because when you keep acting, you know, sometimes you hear them say, fake it
until you make it.
Until you make it.
Yes.
Or fake it until it becomes real.
Yeah.
You keep faking and faking and faking that you no longer remember who you are.
But so now that's for individuals faking. So, but do people sometimes see, or most times see, that fakeness in them? And how do we identify it? Are we able to say that, okay, this is not the person's real self? This person is another word they use is wannabe.
Yeah.
You know, when you are trying to be who you are not.
Yes.
Because who you are is your authentic person.
Yes.
But is it possible that people are able to sometimes smell? I think, if you ask me, I think that sometimes no, this person is not acting his or her real self. This person is, I'm not exactly faking it. I don't know. Maybe I'm not trying to be polite, but say this person is trying to be wannabe. But do we sometimes get people?
We have our natural intuition. Sometimes you feel something, you sense something, especially when there becomes inconsistencies. Because when you keep faking, you present different personalities in different places. At a point, people will begin to notice inconsistencies. This might take some time. But sometimes, even just at the point of meeting somebody, you can see that somebody is putting up an act. That this person is just dramatizing. And you would sense that there might be something behind what this person is showing me. This is not all. And you know that this person is probably... You begin to question the person in front of you.
Yeah.
That could this be this person or could there be more? You begin to notice that there's something not genuine about that person.
That's right.
So at what point can women identify that they are already falling into this fake life? At what point?
Okay. For me, I would say when you notice that you are always trying to play to the gallery, when you notice that everything you're doing it to please other people.
Fantastic.
Or you're doing it to get external validation.
She mentioned it about cultural and societal expectations. She mentioned it when she was
you want to live expectations even when you're doing those things
like you don't even believe in it.
Even happy.
You're
not even satisfied with what you're doing. But you just have to do it because you want to belong.
You see, for me, the way to know whether you are falling into that trap is when you are constantly comparing yourself, your look, your relationship, your family, your career with women online.
And possibly trying to be like them.
Yes. Then another way to know is when you keep living for appearances. You post, you speak, to reflect maybe your image online. That's another way to know you are falling into that trap. And when you no longer want to be seen in regular settings, because it does not fit your status, humble settings, you no longer want to be seen there, then you know that you are falling into that trap. When you no longer can share your struggles with your friends, then you know you are falling into that trap. When you feel disconnected from your real self, you begin to feel unfulfilled. You feel like an imposter in your own life. Then you know you are falling into that trap. When you don't want to be seen as broke, weak, sad, or confused, then you are falling into that trap.
I agree.
So these are some of the ways you can know that you are falling into that trap.
Then can we discuss ways that women can actually bring back themselves, having identified that, okay, this is not really true to me. I'm just doing this to keep up. I'm just doing this to align.
Yes.
I'm doing this to, just to show that I'm one of them.
Yes. I get what you're saying. The way to go about it. You stop, you pause and reflect and ask yourself some questions. This thing I'm doing, is it really giving me peace or is bringing me pressure? Who am I trying to impress? Am I living to validate myself or am I serving a purpose? So these are the questions you should ask yourself. That's a way to know and to reclaim your authenticity. Then another thing you need to do is then you begin to rebuild success and define what success is to you. Success is not in the things you wear. Success is in peace of mind, good health, impact, and love. Then when you redefine success, then you begin to align yourself in that line. Because your focus is now beginning to shift from trying to be someone that you are not to be who you really are. So these are some of the ways that you can reclaim your peace. Then you unfollow those accounts that triggers comparison. Those accounts that put you under pressure to perform. You unfollow them and follow real value-driven creators. Those are some of the ways that you can reclaim your authenticity.
I'm thinking about talking about authenticity.
Yes.
Because we are talking about ways to, to avoid a fake life, right? So I was thinking that why do people even do fake life in the first place, right? For validation, we mentioned, for societal acceptance, right?
Yes.
So talking about authenticity, I think that is also accepting who you are as a person. Accepting yourself first before you seek the acceptance of other people. So when you say, I am unique, I am different, the way and manner I talk, the way and manner I do my things are different. All right. So there will be no basis, to want to be like you. And if there are possibly things that I admire about you that I want to be like, I would or should do it in such a way that is genuine to me. Right? Because we need to find out a reason why people fake life. You know why? So because I don't want us to see fake life only from a point of view of as a bad thing. There could be a positive side of this fake life. Funny enough. Yeah, and this is it. So people who do fake life, they are trying to live who they want to be now, without having the capacity, either emotional or financial capacity, to currently live in that life. So it's not that fake life entirely in itself is a bad thing. But what we are saying is that even though you have a future projection of yourself, or even though there's a you want to become, that you are trying to fake it till you make it, right? But then you could still do it in a way that is authentic to you. You could still live your life, show up, in a way that is still you, even though, you are not yet there. So it's also that thing we say now. It's just because we decide to use fake life. When we say things like, dress the way you want to be addressed, and when we say things like, act your future today. Do you understand? Like, who do you want to become tomorrow? So whatsoever thing you want to become tomorrow, begin to lay the foundations today. Begin to talk like it. Begin to act like it. Begin to carry yourself like it. Begin to dress like it. Do you see it now? Like it's not that we're there yet, but it's just like laying the foundations to who you want to become. I'm sorry, I'm just choosing to see and to be genuine to why people really do this fake life. So where the danger I think that lies in is when people are beginning to live that fake life, to show up and to show off. To show that I'm an expensive girl, which is really not needed.
Sometimes it's not necessarily. It doesn't start. Sometimes it's even showing up. Sometimes it's fear. Sometimes people live fake life out of fear. I think the factor that really drives
I get you. Fear of what? Fear of what?
Fear of so many things. Fear of abandonment. Fear of failure.
So when you mean abandonment, you mean fear of not being left behind. To say,
they don't want to be left behind. They want to, like you said,
feel among.
They want to feel among. So that fear, so many fears they have. Fear of like not making it too, of being saying that they are not successful. So they want to live up, and that fear sometimes they don't want people to shut them out.
I think you're right about that.
To shut them out.
So the fear of
they have to pretend they are who they are not, so that they feel that way they can be accepted, they can be loved.
Like things are not going to bad for me.
Going to a party and everybody is looking cool. I'm the one that looks different. So everybody has an accent, and I don't want to be speaking like one person that just came out from me. So let me just put up an accent.
You're not everybody now.
That is exactly what we're saying. That you're being now. You're not living a fake life.
You're not everybody. Be you. Except maybe you only want to speak that accent.
They want to speak that accent, but why not kind of polish the one that is you? Why do you want to speak exactly like somebody else? That means you're not living who you are. You want to be somebody else.
So let's cite a very real life example. Ashwebi. You don't have the money for that Owambe, and you really want to go there because you like the social life, but yet you don't have the money for that expensive. Ashwebi are really expensive now. I'm sure you know.
Yes,
so you'll be seeing invitation. You now say Ashwebi of 150,000 naira, 50,000, and I'm like,
meanwhile your salary is just 150,000.
So how should people do that now?
You say no,
or you wear color.
You say no to the Ashwebi and wear color
close to,
even if it's not
and feel confident in it. Show up, and enjoy the party.
You should be able to say no. That's one of the power that you have.
Thank you.
To be able to, remove yourself from this fake life syndrome that is really ravaging our young people. Ability to say no is very important. You don't have to belong when your financial, capacity
cannot afford it.
Who even says you don't belong? It's when you start feeling you are more worried about what other people think. Who says I don't belong?
So me, I'm like,
it's for me to decide if I belong here or not.
I'm like,
and if I want to be here, I want to be comfortable there.
So I'm like, I don't have money to buy your designer bag, but this my bag, is not is presentable.
You carry it as if.
Do you understand? It's presentable, provided it's not looking torn or looking old, and all of that. Provided that. So I think that the conversation really, like you said, is you can say no and you can be yourself. Like in the case of, we cited Ashwebi now, if you don't have the, what's it called? The 150,000 or whatever, wear the color and look good. Show up and look
no regrets
good.
About that.
Fantastic.
Thank
you so very much.
Even recently, maybe some few months ago, and Ashwebi came. It wasn't even so expensive.
That's just an example because
But then I didn't have plans to spend that kind of money on that, because one you buy the Ashwebi, two you make it, right?
Yeah. And you spend another money until
making it.
Okay, you know what?
And
at this point,
I said no to the Ashwebi, and I wore something else to the wedding. But funny enough, when I got to the wedding, it seemed like the simple cloth I wore was now like the center of attraction.
Fantastic.
Compared to the thousands spent on the Ashwebi.
Fantastic.
So sometimes it's not even how expensive.
I want you to
wear it.
Ngozi, I want you to hold on that thought. We'll go on a short break now, and so when we come back, we'll continue with it.
Do you feel terrified when speaking before a group? Are you stressed when asked to present? Do you bore people when speaking? Are you stuck with reading word for word? How do you give a speech with polish? Learn how at the School of Eloquence,
the home of public speaking. Attend our practical coaching in public speaking. Call 0802 303 2066 or log on to schoolofeloquence.org.
School of Eloquence, teaching the world to speak.
Welcome back. And so Ngozi, you were sharing your thoughts, and I want you to, complete your thoughts on Ashwebi.
Okay, like I mentioned, in the last 6 months, I've rejected about 2 Ashwebis.
Why?
Because they were not in my financial plan, and I didn't have extra budget for that. So,
but you could go borrow now.
For what? To attend somebody's wedding for 1 day. And after that, what happens next? I'll be owing money, and that will be pressure on me.
Then there'll be another party next week, Saturday.
Then I'll go borrow again when I'm still owing.
Just so that keep showing up.
That will be me putting myself under unnecessary pressure, and I can do without that. So come the way you are. Just make sure you're good enough.
Good.
With whatever you have.
Good.
You have, because I went with something that was not even expensive at all.
And you look good.
But the way I showed up, like they say, packaging is everything.
Right.
I put myself together very well, and when I got there, honestly, I got a lot of compliments. Yes, even from the people wearing the expensive Ashebis, they were like, "You're looking good. What have you do? What did you do to yourself?" So it's all about the confidence with which you wear something. You don't need to go borrowing.
I think that in our conversation, we need to really talk about, because this fake life, we need to really emphasize on confidence. But before we get there, I would like us to also look at this now. How does social media contribute to the pressure to project an unrealistic image? Madam Esther.
Social media plays a massive role, in fueling the pressure to project an unrealistic self-image, especially with young people and professionals in image-driven environments. Let's even look at the highlight reels and real life. Oftentimes, people post curated moments, vacations, their designers' shoes and bag, new homes, cars, and all that. And this creates a distorted reality, because you take somebody's 5% and begin to compare it to your everyday 100%. So it creates pressure. Another thing is validation through appearances. That's another thing that causes all this problem with fake life. The likes, views, comments, they have become social currency online. And it creates a psychological loop, because people no longer live for the truth. They live for gram. The fear of FOMO. The FOMO.
People don't no longer live for truth.
They don't live for truth.
So let's say they don't live for the real life.
No, they are living for gram. Yes. Then you have the FOMO, fear of missing out, where everybody seems to be making it online, launching new brands, in quotes, in their soft era. That's another thing that brings this pressure.
Thing they say about if it's not on the gram, it didn't happen?
Yes.
So it's affecting everything. You know that even now, if you have a function like a wedding, a birthday party, it has to be posted on.
Yes.
The pressure is...
And the worst thing about social media posts is that these posts, they are searchable and they are permanent. So it means I can screenshot it and keep looking at it over and over and over.
Yes, so these are the problems.
When I keep doing that, you know what it means? I begin to get obsessed with those things.
Yes.
I now want to be that.
Yes.
The more you look at a picture, you build that mental picture.
That image in your head.
So you can always search it. Ngozi's wedding.
Yes.
You go back. Look at it. Let me see the shoe. The earrings. This diamond. After 1 month, somebody wants to do a wedding. Let's go and compare with Ngozi's wedding. So social media really drives this thing.
Yes. You see influencers, that's another problem.
Influencers.
Their influencer culture, their audience don't want to know the secret behind their brand. They just cheer them up. They don't want to know how these influencers are being clothed. They don't want to know who their sponsors are. So it brings another pressure for them to make it big. Then where there is no financial transparency, because only few people talk about the secret behind their brand, the pressure of work before the success. So until you look at it in that context, you think that quick success is normal. So people fake it just to fit in.
Having said everything that we have said, mentioning all the pressures and factors and all of that. So what are the practical strategies for cultivating contentment and celebrating personal achievements regardless of what others are doing?
Okay, I think first of all, you have to know yourself. You have to go beyond the superficial and grasp your inner self. Socrates said something. There's a quote that says, "Man, know thyself," right? And to thine own self, to your own self, be true. So if we base it on this, for you to know yourself, that means it takes rigorous self-examination. You have to really know, who am I? What are my core values? What do I have? What is my own definition of success? What is my goal in life? So your journey is not, my journey is not your journey. So what you say as success, maybe for your goal, you have planned, I want to get a Lamborghini. That's not my goal. I want to have a PhD. So we are going to different ways. So why am I comparing myself to you? So success should be when you see yourself, achieving milestones that will eventually lead you to your final goal. It's not even the outcome, it's the process. You should be able to measure milestones and see it and be grateful for that and see it as success, because that is progress. Success is progress. As far as you're progressing forward towards your goal. At some point,
you meant progress is success. Progress is success. Can it be said like that?
Success is also progress. Because if I have a goal, for example, let me bring that. If I have a goal to save 3,000 naira in 5 days, and day one, I'm able to save 700 naira. I've not saved 3,000 naira, but that's progress.
Yes.
So I will achieve it as success, because for today, it was a successful day. And I should be grateful to God for that. Because if I can replicate that in 4 or 5 days, I'll get my 3,000 naira.
That's exactly.
Because it's a journey.
That's exactly what I meant by saying that progress. So if you say you want to save up to, what amount did you mention? 3,000. And you're able to save 700 naira today. So you've made progress from 0 to 700 naira, even though you are not yet at.
And I will celebrate.
And you celebrate that,
because that is a small win.
Awesome.
For today, it's a small win, and it's a good.
And you'll be proud of it.
And I'll be proud of it.
You see, just like Ngozi has said, you must learn to create your own definition of success.
Agreed.
Why I say this is that
society
will judge success by your money, your followers, your milestone, your wins. But contentment will start when you can define what success looks like to you.
I agree.
So you can decide to define success in 5 words: peace, purpose, health, impact, and love. And when you have defined success to look like that to you, then you see that you begin to feel content in yourself. You begin to appreciate what you have more. Then you also use that as your filters for your goals and choices. Then you try and make sure that you create a gratitude and growth journal. It's important to do that, because every day when you list all the things that you have achieved, you'll be thankful to God for those things. And when you do that, your brain will become rewired to notice only abundance instead of lack. And as much as possible, limit all those comparison triggers, those things that makes you feel that you are not doing enough. All those accounts that makes you feel pressured.
That you're not doing enough.
Yes.
That you're not being enough.
Yes.
That you don't have enough.
Yes. And follow real value-driven creators. Because that's a way to, you know, to be content, to value what you have. Then try as much as possible to track your progress. Don't jump out of your lane to meet up with somebody else, because everybody is running a different race. And learn to celebrate yourself. I always tell women, be your strongest cheerleader in celebrating your successes and achievements. As we are here now, please, let's just celebrate ourselves, because it's not easy to be here. Honestly. So learn to celebrate yourself is very important. So that's one of the ways that you can be content with your life. It's important. And as much as possible, try and be grateful for what you have. You know, if you are not grateful for the little you have, you can't have more. So it's very important for you to be grateful for what you have.
You know, she mentioned something about, so that we don't contradict ourselves. She said something about not measuring up, comparing yourself to other people in your success journey. Don't say, this person is here, see where I am. It doesn't mean that we should become laid back.
Yes. That's
so
right.
Let's not
sometimes,
confuse
because it's good to compare notes.
You should
and see areas where you need
should
to
have genuine ambitions.
And
you should have your plan and your strategy to achieve your goal.
Exactly.
You shouldn't be
and
laid
to improve,
back.
to get better.
And you should also have room to accommodate challenges when it comes, because sometimes the journey might not be the way you have planned it. That does not make you a failure. It's just for you to re-examine the situation.
That's it.
Pick what is making things not work out well, and re-strategize.
That's
and
it.
pick up from where you are. But you shouldn't start developing a failure mindset. That doesn't make you a failure. That only makes you understand that you can do something better. If you've done it this way, it's not working, that means there's something I am not doing. Which other way should I do this thing?
You see, my final word on this, on contentment, is that contentment is not passivity, but it is power. So that's my final word on contentment.
Yeah. May I also add, and it's something that we said earlier, is confidence. Because sometimes people are contented, but they are not confident, to show that, because confidence shows how you show up, is everything. So if you have everything and you're not, I don't want to use the word proud, because it maybe speaks to how I want to explain confidence, to say, well, I don't have everything, but I'm grateful to God, because even in confidence you have your gratitude to say, I'm grateful to God.
There's nobody that has everything.
Right.
Nobody has everything. Even those people, the so-called influencers, celebrities.
Right.
If you go behind the scene in their quiet,
they have their struggles.
Those things,
nothing is correct.
You may be feeling you're not measuring up.
They have their struggles and their debts. You are right.
Nobody has.
Imagine
everything.
those ones show up confidently, knowing that nobody has everything. Then why would you then let that person's life or those people's lives then make you feel less of yourself, feel depressed, feel like inadequate?
In fact, that is why we are here. We are trying to tell ourselves that there's no reason for anyone to feel inferior in your own journey. Our journeys are different. The way we leave our houses every morning, one is going to Ketu, the other one is going to Yanokmaja, the other one is going to Lekki. We are not all going to take the same route. That is what life is.
Well said. So how then do we encourage a culture, and to wrap up, this conversation now, how do we encourage a culture of transparency and having these honest financial conversations among ourselves as women?
Atinuke, that's a game changer. And this has to be deliberate, and it will take an intentional process. The reason is that we are trying to shift a culture from silence and comparison to openness and support. And to do that, you need to build a community that is safe and not judgmental. Women don't like to talk about money. So, but we should get to a point where as women, we should be able to ask ourselves genuine questions.
Why don't we like to talk about money?
That's just the nature of women. They don't want to talk about money.
But they say women like money now.
Yes, we like money, but yet we don't want to talk about it. But you know, if you're able to build that community that is not judgmental, that is safe, then you'll be able to bring a pool of women together that can share their struggles. We'll be able to ask ourselves genuine questions. For instance, what's your relationship with money? How did you learn to make budget? You know? So, but mind you, in that community, not everybody is an influencer, a celebrity, and a CEO. We have other women in that community. So we want to hear stories from them. The single moms, how were they able to build their savings? The women who started late, we want to hear their stories. The survivors of debt and financial abuse, we want to hear their stories. The jugglers, the multiple income earners, we want to hear their stories as well. And if you are leading such a group of women, you need to lead with grace, humility, compassion, and empathy. You don't come there because you are a CEO, then you talk down on everybody. That's not right. Because you withdraw, the woman will be withdrawn.
Openness, how do I put it now? I think what I want to say about this is that, you know, we have a culture, especially from the family. You find out that when the boy child is growing up and a girl child is growing up, they're exposed to different things. What they learn, both explicitly and by observation, it's different. So now, it's like she said, we have to shift it to a culture of intentionality about bringing up the female child to appreciate financial literacy, budgeting, telling them from young age that they should also be interested in making their own money. Do you understand? And understanding how money works. Not just spending money. You know, you see a society where they paint women as people that just want to come and spend money, but they don't want to make money. And when you go to social media, it seems like social media reinforces it. You just see people showing off where they are going shopping, spending money, one big man taking them out and things like that. But we need to be open and start from early age to teach women, female child, about financial literacy. That they too should know how to budget. They too should know what to spend on and what not to spend on. They cannot just be waiting for somebody. I don't know how to put it right now, but you don't wait for somebody to help you manage your finances. You learn to do it yourself. Financial skills are learnable. They are teachable skills. You can learn them. So I think the girl child should be exposed. Even when we're talking about relationships, you don't just tell a girl, I'm preparing you for marriage. So the only thing the girl is focusing on is how to cook in the kitchen, how to take care of the babies. While you're teaching the girl how to prepare for marriage, you should also teach her finances. It's very important. How to manage money and how not to be swayed by the show of what people are showing off.
Awesome. In addition to that, we should also let women know that we all have different priorities, and so there are no basis for comparisons, and there are no basis comparisons when I mean in terms of financial capability, that you are able to buy a Gucci bag or whatsoever designer bag, and I'm not buying it doesn't mean it's because I cannot afford it, but because I have other priorities based on my personally goals or values.
Yeah. We all have
so different core values and what matters to us per time. We've seen some very rich parents that they don't take their children to very expensive schools, and we've seen some parents that are not so rich, but they take their children to some very expensive schools. So it's all about what priority is to them. I think that ways, I think is one in contribution to what you have said to answer this question on how to encourage a culture of transparency. I think when people have that that understanding that, well, because there's something I always say, that we all spend, but what differs is what we spend on.
Yes.
You know, yeah, we all spend.
And how we
so,
spend
and,
it.
and
Some of us spend in front of the camera. So everybody sees we are
awesome.
spending.
So, but we all spend.
Some people are spending much more quietly.
So, but then that's why I said we need to understand that we have different priorities, and so there are no basis.
And moreover, it's more important to know that you should be saving and investing than just spending.
Awesome.
So when they come to social media and all they are showing you is how they are spending. What happens when you can't work anymore? What savings have you acquired? What investments have you made? So these are the things we should be open about. We need to tell ourselves the truth. It is that time when you are young and active that you should be saving and investing, because it will get to a point where you will not be so active anymore, and you would need money to continue to live. So we need to tell people the truth. We cannot keep pretending that the struggles will not be there, because they come to social media and give you a false impression that everything is so smooth.
Okay, we've said quite a lot of things, honestly, and it's an interesting conversation. And what makes it interesting is the fact that these are the things that we wake up every day to see. We open our phones and subtly or forcefully or consciously and unconsciously we have all these things attacking us, it's there in our faces every day. And it's just for us to be intentional to ensure that it doesn't take us to a place or make us to become who we do not want to become in the name of wanting to belong. Or you mentioned FOMO, fear of missing out, or and all of those kind of things. Thank you so very much, ladies. But before we go, I would like you to give your final words, your final thoughts about the topic once again, the authenticity advantage. So what would you say about that? Escaping the fake life trap. What would be your final word?
My final word on that
topic
is live within your means.
Fantastic.
Spend what you have. Adjust your lifestyle to fit your financial reality. That's my final word.
Fantastic.
Okay, for me, I'll go back to that saying, that maxim. Women, know yourself. Know what your limitations are. Know what your strengths are. Know what you value, what your real inner self wants. Don't live for the impressions. Don't live for the likes and the shares. Live for your own satisfaction. Let the validation come from within you. At the end of the day, ask yourself, am I proud of who I am? Am I proud of what I have achieved today? Even when nobody's clapping for you, you can clap for yourself.
Fantastic.
Let the validation come from within you.
All right. So now let's clap for ourselves once again. So women, you've heard it, and I'm going to borrow from what they've all said. Let's celebrate ourselves. Let's be sure of who we are and know what we want out of life and truly connect with our inner self.
My name is Ome Sylvia. Stay tuned to Achievement Channels for more positive information.
My name is Bodea Bifare. Please keep watching the Achievement Channel. Tune in, support them, like, subscribe. Yes, Achievement Channel.
What a powerful conversation we've had today on the authenticity advantage. Thank you, Esther and Ngozi, for your invaluable insights and wisdom. Your honesty truly inspires. So absolutely, for all of you watching, remember that true success isn't about the optics. It's about inner peace, financial freedom, and genuine connection. Dare to be authentic and find contentment in your genuine circumstances and build a truly sustainable future. And that brings us to the end of another empowering episode. To our fantastic viewers, thank you for tuning in and being part of this journey. Keep watching the Achievement channel for more insights, inspirations, and breakthroughs. And always remember, no matter what you face, we see possibilities.